We're on episode 5 right now, aren't we?
5 right now, 5, yes.
5, yeah, let's fucking go, bro. Cool. We just saw an amazing card today with Islam Makachev. And I feel like for all of us that are still missing Khabib, we're sort of vicariously living through Makachev's experience. It almost puzzles.
Yes and no. Yeah.
Like, I feel like it also puzzles me because every time Makachev's there, that it kind of just satiates UFC's hard on for Khabib. Like every time he's on screen, like the camera, everything's about Khabib. Like at this point, I almost feel bad because Islam won, like extending his winning streak, and all people could talk about is how Khabib's like 4 or 5-0 as a coach, and everything that Islam does is something that Khabib just jizzes out. Like everything is Khabib, 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 even though Islam's the one that's actioning on a lot of things. And I don't know, man. I feel like this can go so many ways. But I just want to begin with the card in itself. The top 3 fights. Jeremy Stephens, big mouth after that whole Drucker close incident, man. I kind of like to see the guy get the shit out grappled out of him, man. I think the guy needs to eat a little humble pie.
Man, the way Matthaus out grappled him, I've never seen anything like it. The guy came into the UFC as a former featherweight and lightweight KSW world champion. You don't get much better than that. Like I think that's a Polish promotion. So all these guys that are coming out of Europe, all these guys that are coming out of South America from these relatively smaller promotions are such high caliber people. It's absolutely insane to see UFC fighters. I mean, this was only his second fight in the UFC. Correct me if I'm wrong, but third fight. Sorry. This is only his third fight in the UFC, so it's still a very green career in the UFC, man. I mean, and fighting a guy like Jeremy Stephens at lightweight when he's not on that much of a weight cut, or not as brutal a weight cut as compared to when he cut down to featherweight. He had 18 fights at featherweight. Imagine that, and he had a couple of fights at lightweight before that where he knocked out Rafael dos Anjos.
Right.
And he had some pretty fucking vicious knockouts. So a guy like that at that caliber, facing a guy like Jeremy Stephens, man, I mean, if it doesn't get more daunting than that. But countering Jeremy Stephens' defensive Kimura to converting it into his own offensive Kimura and pulling it off in under a minute, that's absolutely fucking nuts. It's unlike anything I've ever seen, and I genuinely think that the lightweight division is turning out to be a very, very scary division, not just in the top 5, not just in the top 10, but in that top 15. We don't see a more stacked weight class than that anymore, And
you think so?
I know so. Welterweight's catching up pretty quickly. My only drawback about the UFC now is its featherweight division, unfortunately, and it breaks my heart to see that because it's the least active weight division ever. Considering at least the top 10 in that division.
For sure.
You don't see anybody.
The featherweight division has a lot of working to do. Yeah.
But coming back to this fight, I mean, it was nothing short of spectacular, and it's nothing short of catapulting Matthaus into the top 15 of that weight class, and potentially the top 10 before the end of the year. I genuinely think that he has a good chance of getting in that top 10, which is going to be very hard. But you know a champion, you see one, man. And he trains with the likes of Dustin Poirier. He trains with the likes of Masvidal. He used to train with Colby Covington when he was at ATT. I mean,
right.
So he used to train with all the likes of these guys, and Joanna Jędrzejczyk as well, who's also at ATT. And it's really crazy to see these guys get lost in each other's greatness, and feed off of each other's greatness. And Mike Brown's a fantastic coach for doing what he's doing.
And I think it'd be good to see him against the likes of maybe like Kevin Lee or maybe even Thiago Moises. You never know. Like, the man came off of a loss, but like, both of them fought in the same card. They could always, fight each other again to see who kind of makes the most out of that win. But Misha Tate.
Jeez. Talk about coming off a long layoff, man. Jeez. And she looked better than ever. I'm not just talking looks-wise.
Looks-wise, oh my goodness. Okay, look, I can say this in the most respectful way, I think. Oh my
you better, or she's going to fly out and kick your ass.
Dude, I have so much respect for the woman, but god damn it, she's a goddess, dude. Holy shit, she's a goddess. Like how do you you never like it's She's just man. She just looks so fucking good, and so crazy to see someone who just looks that fucking good can be equally deadly and dangerous. And it's so good to have her back because I feel like she gives that women's bantamweight division a huge, like a huge name and whatnot. And it's good to have an icon of that caliber back on the roster, right?
Absolutely. First fight back in the co-main event on a UFC Fight Night card. I mean, doesn't get much better than that, you know. Obviously, they weren't going to take away the spotlight from Islam and Moises, but Misha Tate, having her, I mean, she is the next best. It was the next best thing after Amanda Nunes or Ronda Rousey. You know, because she was such a big name, she had been around for so long, and she just needed some time off. And some time off is, and the good effects or the benefits of some time off is what we saw today. What we saw come to fruition today. It was absolutely insane.
And it's
she
not
was
easy.
Outboxing this girl. Exactly, she was outboxing this girl. She was out grappling this girl, and obviously, you know, it was her opponent's final fight ever. She went out in a blaze of glory fighting Misha Tate. Lost one more time to Misha Tate. This was their second meeting. She faced Misha very early in her career and lost. I don't know how she lost. I didn't do any research on that, but I know that they fought before and she lost Misha. So to see Misha come back with a bang like that, literally, she was lighting this girl up on her feet. Her hands have looked better than ever. I've not seen Misha striking look that good ever, because she was predominantly a grappler. You see her now become a lot leaner. You see her now have this insanely well-rounded skill set as compared to what she was before in her, you know, in her early 30s. And now she's in her mid 30s and she's looking better than ever. So that also begs the question as to how and when a fighter might peak. And the only answer to that is that everybody's different.
Oh yeah, and going through motherhood, going through childbirth, coming back.
Yeah,
That was
she has
last year, man. Like, I mean, you know, coming back from that. I mean, hats off.
She's still nursing. She's still nursing.
Yeah, absolutely.
From what the
killer mom
said,
instinct. You know.
Yeah, seriously. Talk about killer mom. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
So Holly Holm versus Misha Tate. Looking forward to that. Whenever they think they can make that happen. If end of the year looks good, I think that's a fight that deserves to be on a PPV card. Like, you know, not just a fight night card.
Definitely.
And you know, speaking of our main event, and you know, moving into one of my favorite topics of discussion is which is to just speculate where Islam Makachev is headed, and you know what the road might look for him going forward. Because he's made a couple of call outs. You know, he called out RDA. He also called out Michael Chandler. Who else did he call out? He called out someone else. He called out a third person. He called out Tony Ferguson. Tony Ferguson,
yeah.
Right. You know, and all of those are fights I'd love to. Fucking Beneil Dariush as well. Like, you know, thrown in the fourth name.
Yeah, him versus Beneil Dariush is fucking insane. I mean, him versus Beneil Dariush would I don't know. I'm at a loss for words right now. It's so insane to think about that sort of a matchup. Because you saw Beneil Dariush cut through Tony Ferguson's guard like butter. I've never seen guard passing like that in my life before. And you talk about a guy like Islam, who I can't say he made it look effortless today, because that's how good Moises is. You know, we saw Moises picking him up and taking him down a couple of times. Moises got a few takedowns on Islam, which I was very surprised with.
Right.
So people say that Islam is in the shadow of Khabib. He's in the shadow of Khabib, but it's not that. He has his own story to write. He has his own legacy, and he's only 29 years old.
Absolutely.
He's only
he wasn't given a lot of opportunity. You know, like he had a huge break between 2019 and 2021. Like, you know,
exactly, because that was Khabib's time to shine. That was Khabib's time to shine, and that was Khabib's father's way of saying that after Khabib retires, he's going to pass the torch on to Islam. And you see Islam now taking that role up very, very well. You see him beating all these guys, and his last fight was absolutely insane. Like, I've never seen somebody pull off an arm triangle from half guard.
Right.
It was the level of squeeze required for an arm triangle anyway is absolutely insane, and to do it from half guard becomes even harder. And he did that. So that just speaks to the caliber of Thiago Moises. You know, it's I genuinely can't process the fact that he was actually taking Islam down. So I know that Moises is also going to break into that top 10. Maybe not now, but a couple of
might just be a small setback, for the guy.
And come on, if he's facing Islam, he's people say he's Khabib 2.0. I don't like when people compare fighters to each other, especially teammates. And now Khabib's become his mentor, so for so long they were training partners, and now Khabib's his mentor. And like I said, I think that Islam has the skills to become champion in that weight class. I think a lot of people have just been ducking him. I love the fact that he won the fight the way he did today via submission, submitting a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. It was absolutely I was very surprised to see Islam manhandle him on the ground the way he did. He was just picking him up, putting him down, picking him up, putting him down,
Yeah.
sliding him to the ground. And he got his back and submitted him via rear naked choke. You don't see that happen to a lot of black belts, but it speaks to it speaks to the caliber of the grappling that these Russian guys do at AKM, and it's another level of it's another level of good. There's no other words for it, and I realize
And
I'm slurring my words right now,
it's the
but there's
same
just
way how like
yeah.
Khabib back then kind of actually took RDA and Alia Quinta through decisions. But you don't actually see that, we're not seeing a lot of decision wins for Islam. Islam's just making everyone tap now. So, and you saw the evolution of Khabib as a fighter, right? The tougher opponents he faced, the better he got. Like, you'd always think that, okay, maybe once he got to the likes of Conor or Dustin, he might actually go the distance, but that wasn't the case, every fighter he got, he just finished them in a faster fashion. And
Yeah.
when you have that sort of mentality guiding you as a coach, I could definitely see Islam going up and actually making Tony Ferguson look easy. You never know; it might be possible because mentally, I feel like Tony it might not be in the best of places. He's definitely in the twilight zone of his career. He has been consistently outperformed by the likes of Justin Gaethje and Charles Oliveira and Benil Dariush. But for all this, when you start speculating about the way this lightweight division is going, here's sort of my prediction, or here's what I think the guys should be doing, or like how I think the ideal matchmaking scenario should kind of go ahead. RDA is a backup for Conor and Dustin didn't work out, right? So like this guy is someone who wants to get a good fight. I don't think he himself is very convinced with the fact that he last beat Paul Felder with a split decision when Felder took the fight on 2 weeks of notice, right, or even less, right?
Yeah, less.
Now I think RDA and Islam is an
6 days.
excellent matchup.
6 days.
6 days notice, exactly.
Yeah.
So I think it's been a while since we've seen like RDA again in action. I'd love to see RDA versus Islam Makachev. This also means that with Conor being put into the sidelines, one of the key matchmaking problems has kind of been solved, in my opinion, which is a title eliminator, which I think has to be the clear option: Justin Gaethje versus Michael Chandler. I don't see any other fight being remotely even considered. Now, this kind of steps into the way the UFC has been operating for the past year or so, because every person who's fought and won against Tony Ferguson has gone on to challenge for the lightweight title.
The title,
right?
yeah.
And now Dariush has just done that, and I just feel like there's just too many people that actually have a stake or a claim to that title at the moment as well. Like Dariush has put on an excellent win streak as well. So
I think he needs 2 more wins, though. I'm sorry to cut you off, but I think Dariush definitely needs 2 big wins in order to be considered for a title.
Would you say 2? I would probably put that at 1, right? Considering the win streak he's got building like right now.
Okay, he got a good win against Tony Ferguson. He got a very good win against Tony Ferguson, no doubt. But Tony Ferguson is not in the stage of his career where, again, with all due respect, I do feel that Tony Ferguson is sort of the gatekeeper to be able to challenge for the title.
Exactly.
But not in the current state that he's in. Let's say Benil Dariush faces fuck me, who does he face in that top 10? Let's say
like
Benil Dariush faces. No, fuck that.
No, top 10. Sorry, my bad.
Top 10. I'm talking about like Dan Hooker. I'm talking about Mike Chandler. So if he faces one of these guys, now Mike Chandler, I feel that if he wins a fight against Justin Gaethje, or vice versa, the winner of that should be able to challenge for the title, not Benil Dariush just yet. So I feel like Benil Dariush needs to face somebody like Dan Hooker because both of them love to brawl. Both of them have, Benil's ground game is far superior to Dan's, but Dan's a much stronger guy, physically stronger guy. He hits a lot harder, but Benil is known to stand there and he's known to stand and bang with you. So he's game. And I feel like he can face Dan Hooker, and then he can face the loser of Chandler versus Gaethje, and then maybe challenge for a title, because that will be a little more convincing way for him. And for a guy at his stage in his career, he's now Tony Ferguson fight was his coming on party for sure. But I feel like a guy like him who hasn't consistently faced high caliber opponents needs to prove it at least more than one time.
Fair enough.
In that top 5. And if he wins it convincingly, let's say Dustin loses to Charles Oliveira, because I mean, I wouldn't want that. I love Dustin, but let's say he loses to Charles Oliveira. Charles is going to take some time off after the Dustin fight because they're going to be fighting at the end of this year. We know that Charles Oliveira likes to be very, very active, as he has been throughout this year. But you've seen him catapult himself into this position where he's just got this insane run of wins, and he's got this insane. His last two fights have just been exceptional. Both his fights against Tony Ferguson, as well as his fight against Mike Chandler. You know, yeah, exactly. It's been nothing short of masterful, and Dustin Poirier's run has been nothing short of exceptional, considering the way he beat Conor, the way he's beaten so many former champions, even before that. So when you see these two matching up against each other, they pretty much get to call each other. I mean, they pretty much get to call the shots in this division. So I feel like if Dustin wins, him versus Mike Chandler would be absolutely huge. As compared to him versus Gaethje too.
For sure.
Yeah.
Either way, I feel like, it's going to be like a huge, like this is way too many proper Americans now vying for that, lightweight title, because I feel like there's a sense of nationalism as well. I feel like who are the American champs right now? I think it's Kamaru allies with Nigeria. So like I feel like the only American champion is Rose Namajunas, right? So like
I suppose, yeah. But...
And of course, and like John Jones and Aljamain Sterling.
Aljamain Sterling, but yeah, no, I don't consider him to be a champion. I'm sorry, nobody wins
that way. Not yet.
And he got his ass whooped in that fight. I love Aljamain, but he got his ass fucking handed.
Yeah, probably not but just coming back to this, I would probably then say in that sense, Beneil versus RDA would probably make a better matchup considering that, and then Islam versus Dan Hooker or Tony Ferguson would be excellent, right? Because again, Islam versus Tony Ferguson for the pure reason that Khabib Ferguson could never happen. I think like this is what people could salvage, and I think that's probably the fight to make. If anything, and I feel like if Tony loses that's where he bows out. Like I think that's where he should, and I do see him get taken out by Islam. Like how much I want to see that fight happen. I feel like Islam just steamrolls over Tony Ferguson, but that's just my thing, man. So do you think that's probably? I think I agree with you as well. Beneil needs at least 2 more fights. I'd say Beneil RDA and Islam versus...
Like I said, with no disrespect to Beneil, it's just that he's not consistently faced that top 10 caliber of fighter.
Oh, for sure.
Right? He's not, which is why I'm saying 2 instead of 1, because 1 would just be essentially pushing him through like Mike Chandler, right?
Yeah,
but Mike Chandler has the skill set and the marketability to be sold like that. Coming over from Bellator, beating Dan Hooker the way he did in his first fight, it's okay. It was marketable. But Beneil Dariush, considering the fact, I mean, he's been around for so long,
but he's not the most marketable guy yet, right? Like he needs to sort of beat bigger names. I think he's got to get sort of improve that promo / mic game as well. Like that's what sells fights at the end of the day, and that's what Uncle Dana wants. So you can't really. If you want that Dana White privilege, you got to be able to spit something on the mic, bro. Fuck, Tony Ferguson's a genius for coming out of that.
But don't end up like cousin Connor, man. Fuck me, that was bad. Jeez, that was bad. Yeah.
And we're also going to be looking at another very, very interesting fight: Derek Lewis and Cyril Gane. I don't see that fight fucking going past 2 rounds, to be honest. One way or another, I do not see that fight going past 2 rounds. I don't think Derek Lewis has that stamina.
Doesn't have the cardio. No fucking way. Doesn't have the cardio.
He does not have the cardio to do that.
He's either going to win or lose by finish. But yeah, go ahead.
I mean, to be very frank, I do see Derek Lewis probably winning. I mean, I'd root for Derek Lewis just because of the kind of caliber of opponents he's faced. He's taken out Francis Ngannou. He's taken out Curtis Blades. Fuck, what's his resume, dude? Like he beat what? Big ticket. What's his name?
Travis Brown. Beat Travis Brown. He beat this guy. What's his name? He beat he's beaten a lot of people, man. He's beaten a shitload of people.
Beaten a lot of fucking people, bro. Yeah, Olenek.
Yeah, and he won that fight against Ngannou. Their first meeting against Ngannou, he won that fight. It was bloody insane, man. You can't talk about an impressive run and a genuine shot, another genuine shot at the title, like a reshot at the title.
But I do feel like it's a little bit like the whole interim heavyweight thing seems a little bullshitty to me, because I feel I don't know why now. I don't know why Francis isn't defending it. It's not my place to fucking pass judgment over here. I don't know.
Yeah,
But like, I really wish we could have seen him back in action again, man. Like it would have been amazing to see him versus Derek Lewis. I think Derek Lewis earned
absolutely.
it. He battered through Curtis Blades and
Mhm.
Cyril Gane, however impressive he was, you know, I still feel like he can knock out like at least one. Like, yes, he's fought Volkov and Rosenstrike and JDS, like
Mhm.
three fucking top names for you to go ahead. But maybe fight Curtis Blades, like just one more in that top five to solidify that yes, you deserve a title shot. Or like,
the thing is, I feel like the UFC thinks that Cyril Gane can out cardio, can outpoint Derek Lewis, look impressive like that, and then potentially be Francis Ngannou's worst nightmare. In the sense that they used to be sparring partners, so they know each other's game.
mhm.
You've seen that footage of them sparring each other, right?
I
So
have, I have, I
you
have,
see that, yeah,
yeah.
exactly. And they there was there were rumors that Cyril Gane did extremely well in those sparring sessions, and I feel like that's bullshit. Not not the fact that Cyril Gane did well, but the
Mhm.
fact that people are considering what training can be like with in regards to actually fighting each other, because what matters is when the lights are on. So I think that if something happens to Cyril Gane in the lead up to this fight against Derek Lewis, that they're going to push Derek Lewis versus Ngannou next. If
Mhm.
something happens to Cyril Gane, or if he loses to Derek Lewis. But I sincerely hope nothing happens to Derek Lewis. I mean, I don't hope something bad happens to Cyril Gane, but I definitely hope that something bad doesn't happen to Derek Lewis, because I feel like nobody deserves a title shot at the moment more than he does, because he's consistently been taking out people. He's
Mhm.
bettering his game in many, 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 many ways. You saw the way he took out Curtis Blades. He was just sprawling and brawling, sprawling and brawling, and eventually got the knockout. In one of the most impressive fashions is when a wrestler tries to take you down and you throw a vicious uppercut like that and knock out a guy like Curtis Blades who can take a fucking punch. It's insane.
I think it's also the fact that like
So
Curtis Blades is just so riddled with the strikes he's taken over such a long career, right?
fair
Can
enough.
and especially at heavyweight, man. Like the power that these guys pack into their punches can have you out. Like it can addle your head for the longest time, right? It can deeply affect your ability to take that kind of damage, right? And
What do you think happened to Alistair Overeem, man? What do you think happened to Alistair Overeem when he was also the steroids, but also when he was back in K1, when he was in Pride? That guy was taking everybody out. Granted, okay, fine. He definitely was on roids, and when he got popped by USADA, when he moved to the UFC, you saw his form consistently decline, right? And that's also because of age, and there's many other factors. But at the end of the day, he's moved back to kickboxing now, and you can see the after effects of it.
oh yeah,
Like a striker of the caliber of Alistair Overeem shouldn't be getting knocked out by a guy like Ngannou, I can't say he's got technical boxing. I can't say that he had technical boxing when he faced Alistair Overeem the first time,
hmm
but he
but
landed a good
Overeem
shot,
went
and
out
that
to
was all it took.
Volkov right now, didn't he? Yeah, he went
Exactly.
down to Volkov. Yeah.
Exactly. And it's not, it's very heartbreaking to see the caliber of. So it doesn't matter how good your striking is. MMA is not just striking. MMA is many, many different aspects of fighting, and that's why they call this heavyweight division such a mess right now,
hmm
because there's just such indecisiveness in who should get the title shot, who shouldn't. Is this interim title valid? Is it not? It's just it's. I think we just have to take a step back and see what happens, man. I
Oh
think leave
yeah,
it to the
for sure.
gods, leave it to everybody that leave it to God Dana, or leave it to Uncle Dana. See what
Yeah.
see what magic he can come up with.
And
Mhm.
I mean, the other thing is just that ever since Cyril Gane's been a champion, okay, back in
Yep,
Canada, right? So
yep, yep.
the moment he started off, he's kind of been fighting with top caliber people in a particular promotion, right? He's been fighting with the number one contenders there. It's not like he was facing scrubs or whatnot, right? Um, Considering that ever since he made his move to the UFC, he's kind of been a decision machine, especially with top competition. Considering there are people like Jairzinho Rosenstrike, who I don't think his cardio is that great. Extremely strong, very powerful guy, but like you drove him to decision, right? This is
Hmm.
someone where when you play your cards right, like say like the way Stipe did, he tired
Yeah,
Ngannou out and then took him out, right? Like
right.
that's what you would kind of expect, because at the end of the day, it is about, like, putting them in the ground. It is about finishing them. It not only does it make a statement, it also, sort of improves you as a fighter, right? It's the way you
Yeah,
fight, and that, like,
definitely.
the moment you start thinking about how crucial those finishes can be, right? Because
Right.
right now, the reason why I'm leaning a little more in favor of Derek Lewis is because that's not someone you take to a decision. You
Yeah,
get it? Like,
not
you
at all.
either
Not
knock
at all.
Derek Lewis. Like, see, I think Cyril Gane's fucking agile. I think he moves really
Hmm.
well. I think the guy is extremely talented for sure. This is going to be, agility versus power, right? And now when you
Yeah,
pack that kind of power with someone that agile at heavyweight, that's a very dangerous combination. But
absolutely.
I think if the way I see it is, if Cyril Gane shows that he can knock out Derek Lewis, I think Francis Ngannou versus Cyril Gane is going to be a stellar matchup.
It's going to be massive. It's going to be massive.
But
It's
I
going to
would
be
say if,
absolutely massive.
because I think that
Yeah.
if he delays this, if he lets this go into the second and third rounds, yes, he could tire Derek Lewis, because Derek Lewis is not really a 5-round fighter.
The man's entertaining, dude. The man is entertaining.
Absolutely,
Like,
absolutely.
he's not a dick. He's funny. He's not a dick.
Oh,
So
for
when you
sure,
see
for
somebody like
sure.
that,
You're happy for them.
I mean, after he knocked out Ronda Rousey's husband, he asked, where's that fine ass Ronda Rousey at? Jeez, dude. Talk about rubbing it in. She's fuck.
Not many
Yeah, you
people
knock
can
out
do it
Travis
like
Brown and
Derek
ask for
Lewis.
his wife. Fuck. You don't.
Oh
Yeah.
man, yeah, man. I think this was fun, and I want to see how right I get with these predictions. But I also know the
Mm-hmm.
UFC capable of
We're back
up
to
and
disagreeing about shit.
yeah, yeah. I know. I'm just saying
Yeah.
that, like, we know the UFC. They're just going to up and go like, "I
Yeah.
Beneil Dariush gets a title shot," because they're just going to do some
Yeah.
random shit. But let's see how things go.
Mm-hmm.
And thank you so much for
Yep.
joining us.